the past about various things, whom I don't fight today. The folly is to continue a fight when the reason for the fight is over.
Yes,
I
but
have
why
no
did
quarrel with them for being Jews. That's why I'm not an anti-Semite.
But why, in that case, did you condone all the violence that was practiced by your supporters in the 30s against Jews, going down into the East End?
Now, wait a moment. Let's look at that very closely. What meetings of other people were ever broken up by our people? It was our meetings were attacked. I'd had the largest
But
meeting...
you went down and held meetings in Jewish areas in the East End. You marched through Jewish areas as a provocation.
That's been stated again and again and is quite untrue.
Anybody...
All right, I challenge. I challenge.
Can you turn a camera...
all day, and it was 200,000 East Londoners that stopped you marching through all day.
Why march through
the dockers, the clothing workers, the shop assistants stopped you, and even the biggest police force they could muster couldn't push you through.
Why did they have to
beat you then, as we'll beat you again, and we beat your friend Adolf Hitler. But we were our predecessors.
Can we just move this camera here a bit to one side so that so that Sir Oswald can see the person?
Why was they bringing the public out?
Right, just the gentleman finishing the front.
I was making the point. Mosley at the moment tries to present himself as sweet and reasonable. He's not anti-Semitic. Here's a picture of him in 1962 with the leader of the neo-Nazi party in Germany, rapidly calling for a redivision of frontiers, the leader of the Belgian fascists, the leader of the Italian fascists, and a face, this was published in your fascist paper, that's blacked out or whited out. There it is. Who is this mystery man that you weren't prepared to show in your own paper? A war criminal? You are now busy going around Europe trying to rebuild your crooked cross international. You failed once, but you hope that the revival of German Nazis in Western Germany, the old gang coming out of their holes again, will give you another opportunity, even though you're an old, decaying element in this country.
Just a moment, let's...
And there's a picture of him.
Yeah, okay.
Sweet and reasonable. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah, trying to preach to the people of East London.
Yeah, just a minute. Let him answer.
Well, now, you've had your speech. Can I say a few words in reply? Now, it's divided into two parts, your question. First of all, you say I'm in alliance with anti-Semitic elements in Europe. And secondly, you say I held provocative or bullying marches through East London. I'll answer the first point first. None of the men in that photograph are anti-Semites or ever have been. None of them. None of those parties. None of them. They've all specifically disclaimed it. Every single one of the men in that picture have declared against anti-Semitism, and what you say is completely untrue. Now I will take...
Hitler was an anti-Semite, but you were his ally.
No, I was not his ally.
And
I'll deal with that. No, I was not.
You never said one word about the murder of...
Now you see why we had to... Now you see how we had to fight for free speech. When you show pictures of me in uniform, it was because men like you came by the score to our meetings, enormous meetings like that in Exhibition Hall, London, 30,000 people coming to listen to us, which was in perfect order, because we'd stopped people like you breaking up the meetings. And I did that with the Black Shirt movement, and I'm proud to have organized and led the Black Shirt movement to restore free speech to Britain.
Mr. Frost, heckling is part of the British tradition.
Yes.
Until
heckling, but not shouting down, which is what you're doing. Shouting down.
No heckler had ever been beaten and kicked and had bones broken and sent off to hospital. Never. Not since the ancient time.
No.
But you started a fashion that you learned from your friend Adolf Hitler. You thought that anti-Semitism...
Now you want to make
just a minute, let him answer.
You want to bring the meeting, as your friends often tried before, to a close and stop the speaker, either of the speakers, having their say. And that is why we organized to put people like you out when you denied free speech in Britain. And it was a right and proper thing to do, and they were magnificent young men, and I'm proud to have led and organized them to put people like you out of meetings. And since, yes, there you are, you will not allow other people to speak. And you are doing here what you've always done, denying free speech to other people, and that is precisely why I put the people like you out of our meetings. And I do it again.
reason...
Now, do you want to hear the answer?
Look, let him answer. You're arguing his case by not letting him speak. Yeah.
Yes, you proved my case very well. Thank you, as Mr. Frost points out. Now, yes, you proved it very well. With people like you...
Answer the question.
Yes, right on. Now we'll answer. Now, the thing we want to answer now is the question of East London, which Mr. Frost raised, and I should answer. I have never marched through areas like Whitechapel, never held meetings in Whitechapel, since in 1931 a well-known Jew was my candidate there, so I had no need to march through. I stood in Bethnal Green, or our people stood, in the 37 election. We polled 23% in Bethnal Green, 19% in Limehouse, and 14% in Shoreditch. Are you seriously contending that we had no right to hold meetings in areas where we got votes like that?
May I deal with that?
No, I want to... No, just a minute. I want to just follow up this for 1 second. You were saying, in answering all that, you were talking about where you marched and where you didn't march, and that you were not anti-Semitic. And I must say, I'm not convinced on that point. However, let us talk also, in addition to non-convincing there, on the subject of your supporters. There is no doubt, there is no possibility of your denying the fact that people who said they were supporters of yours engaged in vicious, provocative acts against Jewish people in the London area. Did you ever dissociate yourself from that sort of conduct? Did you dissociate yourself?
Yes.
When?
Not only did
When?
I, by expelling them from our movement.
All of them?
Anybody we found doing that was expelled at once, because it was not allowed to, for one thing, yes, he was expelled from our movement. I threw him out, thank you very much, I threw him out 3 years before the war, for that reason among others. People were expelled who did that kind of thing. And we maintained our position of fighting fairly by political means, winning votes in East London as we won votes everywhere at that time.
On the basis of stirring up race hate, on the basis of appealing to the lowest instincts of people, in the same way as Hitler won his mass support by dividing people, saying it was the Jew to blame and not anybody else, you thought you'd use the same tactic.
Not at all.
And you did use the same
tactic. Would you like the answer, or do you want to shout?
Yes, I'd like to deal with the point
shall have the answer.
Been stated.
I fought some...
Please be quiet.
I fought some Jews because I thought, and I still think, they were trying to make a war with Germany. And yes, in the 1930s they were doing it, from 1934 till the end. And they came out in high... Well, that man is proving my case up to the hilt. That's the sort of thing we'd have had the whole time. Never a word of reason or argument heard, like I'm trying to have with Mr. Frost, because people like that are imported to make free speech impossible. He's proving my case up to the hilt. Now, as far as I and Hitler go, the answer is this. I declared in a speech in 1934, which I think was one of the speeches from which quotations have been made, that we could never have any racial policy in Great Britain because we were running a multiracial empire. The German problem was completely different. The Germans were anti-Semites and I was not. I don't, you can show anything you like, it's all on public record. We certainly have always been against the import of aliens, not only Jews, but people from abroad into the overcrowded housing areas of Britain, while our own people had not houses to live in.
Right, Sir
I was
Oswald.
against it then, and I am now.
Right, Sir Oswald. Okay, just... Now, in all of this, you've been going on about all of this, and you've been dealing with the various points that have come up. But now, you are saying absolutely definitely that anybody who was guilty of anti-Semitism was expelled from your party and so on. How can you possibly say that as if you expect people to believe it, when everybody who watched the events of the 30s, whoever you talk to, knows and associates your party totally with racial hatred and anti-Semitism? Either what you're saying is not true, or you were the most ineffectual, put upon, unable to impose his leadership on a party leader that has ever been seen.
Let me answer. That's a quite false dilemma. We were in a fight. I should not expel every man who was fighting with Jews in the street, particularly if they attacked us with razors and other weapons. We were in a fight. That's why we wore uniform, in order to deal with men like this who broke up our meetings by organized violence. And of course I would not expel black shirts who fought Jews in the street when they were attacked by Jews. What I would expel is a man who went around saying that we should deal with all Jews in a horrible fashion, ill-treat them or bully them. Not at all. We were fighting Jews for one reason, to stop a war with Germany. As an ex-serviceman of the First War in air and trenches, I was determined to stop another war if I possibly could.
Let's
May I deal with this?
Just a minute. All right.
May I deal with this
No,
point?
let's let someone else speak. Gentleman in the third row.
You say you were never anti-Semitic except to Jews individually. What did you think of von Streicher, who was the most rabid anti-Semite in the history of the world?
Schleicher.
Streicher.
Yeah. Well, not only he, but the whole German party was anti-Semitic. That is, they condemned Jews because they were born Jews.
Right. Now, Streicher sent you a telegram.
No, that's not proved. I've had that before. I have absolutely no recollection of it. But wait a moment. If it was true, which it isn't, I was trying to keep peace with Germany. That is why twice in the 1930s I went to Germany, and I don't care what a man's politics are or what his opinion. I'm not going to sacrifice young English lives because I don't like his politics or his opinion.
May I read your telegram to Streicher?
No, because first of all, I don't believe it to be true. You can read it if you like, I don't care. But it is not a true telegram, and if it was, I wouldn't mind.
The telegram reads, I greatly esteem your message in the midst of our hard struggle. The forces of Jewish corruption must be overcome in all great countries before the future of Europe can be made secure in justice and peace. Our struggle is hard, but our victory is certain. And the Manchester Guardian and the German paper printed this telegram, and you never at the time denied it, Sir Oswald.
Well, would you like to have the answer?
Just a moment.
Would you like to have... would you permit me to reply? No, you won't. You see, you won't
Will you
permit me to
please be
reply.
quiet?
No, you won't permit me. Right. Now, the answer is this. As I've already told you, we were in a fight with those Jewish interests in this country in order to stop a war with Germany. And anyone in any country who supported us in that, I would send a greeting telegram to, although I think I did not send a telegram that time.
Right.
But anyhow, it doesn't matter.
Sir Oswald.